Buenos dias, amigos. Here I am, a long way from the Mould and a very long way from care. I reckon Barry needs one of these. What do you reckon, Baz?
No, I don't.
I reckon
Not into that.
get him a wrestling mask, like a gimp mask. The wrestling mask, I love them. I think that's just fantastic. Baby, you're not buying one for Glyn.
Yeah.
Come on. Georgie wants one too.
No, I think
yes.
this colour's for me.
That's definitely you. That'll match your
I'm going
kayak.
for the kayak. That's right, here we go.
Put it on. Righto, so there we go. Mould looks like it could survive another day because it needs to, at least one. And beautiful. Righto guys, welcome back to the Mould, and as you can see I'm now flying into Loreto in Baja, Mexico after leaving LA that morning. This area is on the eastern coast of the Baja Peninsula, and the island off the wingtip there is Isla Carmen. Now that would be our home for the next 6 days. We did spend a lot of time around the southern end of that island and then circumnavigated Danzante Island before finishing our trip. This is part of our trip. I will promise to get back to the manufacturing a bit later on, but here's our trip for now, and hope you enjoy it. Look at those mountains, it is awesome. What time is it, Barry? Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
20 to 4.
We don't. I think it's actually 20 to 5. No, you got to add an hour.
Oh, maybe.
Let's make us all sick. Our trip began with our stay in Hotel Angra in Loreto. I mean, this was a beautiful, clean hotel. It was about 1 kilometre or so back from the water. But, you know, one of the cleanest places I think we've ever stayed in. It was absolutely beautiful little location, and everything was walkable in Loreto, and that's the one thing we loved about it. Bev's assumed the position. Oh, she's now joined the club. Happy now, mate?
Relaxing now, yeah.
Relaxing. Excellent. Look at this scene, eh?
Yeah.
This is what you're supposed to do at siesta time. Barry, joined the club. Mate, awesome. Look at us. It's gonna be like a gang.
That's
I love it.
Like the colours, isn't it?
Yeah, we are the colour. This is the colour. That's a good look, mate. Those dark sunnies and that hat. It actually looks great.
I probably should get some more speed.
Somebody forgot her sleeping bag, so she's got to go into the blanket factory and buy a blanket. Always read the information sheet. There's Di's sleeping bag hanging on the wall. How's the artworks?
I'm going to get a new 8 for my door.
Number 8. And Bev's Beach.
Bev's Beach.
You should get him to make you a Bev's Beach porcelain.
That's right. That's a good idea. That's right, here we go.
Put it on.
Oh, I got it.
You got to put it on.
Got to put it on.
I've got to get this on. Check this out.
I
and
have to
entering
undo it.
and entering the rings, we have Ballistic Bev. Beautiful. Oh, that. So here in downtown Loreto, we came across this little coffee shop with the best coffee you've ever had. It was absolutely fantastic, like a barista quality. And the guy invites us up onto his rooftop. Look at the view. The 500-year-old church there, La Mission. 360-degree views of the mountain ranges, and then out here is Isla Carmen and the Sea of Cortez. Just a stunning view, stunning view. Loving this trip, loving it. Righto, after about 2 hours of t-shirt and trinket shopping, we made it to the water. We're only a K back, but it took us nearly 2 hours to get down here because this place is just a real eye-opener. It's absolutely beautiful. And look at this. I mean, wow. I'm hanging. That's a pretty big island. I think it's about 35 k's long, so don't quote me on that, but we'll be digging the water tomorrow. Pardon the pun. That's what we do as kayakers. We dig the water. After 2 nights stay in Loreto, we headed off south around about 20 kilometres to a launch site near Danzante Island, and we're able to then load the kayaks up. And Ginny Callahan, who owns Sea Kayak Baja Mexico, and Edgar Escobar, our guide, organised this thing to perfection. Our load up took around about an hour, and we were able to head off for 6 days. Fully self-contained with our water and everything. I couldn't believe the organisation that went on, and I do a lot of these trips, so highly recommend Ginny's company. And this guy, Edgar, what a champion. One of the best guides we've ever had. He's a marine biologist, he's a diving instructor and a mad kayaker, and we had an absolute ball with him, and one of the most beautiful trips I think I've done, for sure.
Guys, I've got binoculars with me if anybody wants them at any point.
Wow. Oh my God! They're jumping all over the joint. Film these ones. Oh yes! Wish I had my snorkeling gear on. They're just jumping everywhere. Right here, Barry. Oh, no way! Right there. Right on the edge of the point here.
Very close.
Unbelievable. So tell us, Edgar, what's for dinner?
Dinner is Veracruz fish.
Yep.
So it's fish we put with all the ingredients like onion, pepper,
Beautiful.
poblano pepper, garlic, tomato,
Yep.
yeah, and lime. So
Awesome, mate.
let's see. See, it looks really good. The fish is sea bass
Sea bass.
from yesterday. So it's a very
Fresh.
fresh fish.
Fantastic. Oh, look at the colours now. Arroyo Blanco, White Beach. Look at this place. Stunning. So we've had about a 5 kilometre paddle up to here into the wind. It was a bit windy today, but we've had an awesome paddle upwind, and there's some big sea caves we've gone through, so just tremendous kayaking, and not that difficult, to be honest. Pretty simple paddling, nice calm conditions, a bit of wind, but that's always nice to keep it cool. But what a place. We just had this absolute surprise. Our guide, Edgar, showed up with 6 beers 4 days into a trip. What a legend. Legend.
Yay!
Cheers.
So we've just paddled in. We're all set up. We're here at Bahia Honda on Isla Danzante. Playa Bahia Honda. Check this place out. I mean, wow, what a campsite. Unfriggin' believable, this place. I mean, look at it. We've got our kayaks over there. We've got our kitchen here. We've got our tents scattered, and it's ours. And look at this. It is just an absolutely amazing amphitheatre. Looking out towards Isla Carmen, which we've just paddled across the strait there, which is around about 8 kilometre crossing from this island over here, where this yacht is over here. You probably cannot see it, but we went straight across, and the wind got up a little bit. It was a little bit of a rough trip, but absolutely incredible. Well, I'll just take a couple of videos up the hill here behind me. I mean, have a look at this. Oh, wow, cactus. Look at this canyon up here. There's big termite mounds. So many different rock formations, you know, it's just mind-blowing. It's died. What a view, eh? So on our second last day, we paddled up the inside of Danzante Island to a beautiful little cove called Honeymoon Cove, where there just so happened to be a 12-metre Seawind catamaran moored there for the night. We ended up having a chat with Mark and Birgit, who are on board a 3-hour tour, which I guess is a reference to Gilligan's Island. But after having a chat with them, it transpires that they've been watching our channel, and funnily enough, their boat, their Seawind 1200, was made in Wollongong, around about an hour north of where Janet and I live. And at the time that he purchased it, it was one of only 3 second-hand or used catamarans available on the east coast of the US. It just goes to show you how things have changed and how the popularity of cruising cats has taken off. So shout out to you, Mark and Birgit. I hope you're enjoying your season.
Remember, the end of the trip is the beginning of a new one. Always. Thank you.
So I'm here at the end of 6 days of sea kayaking here in Bahia, and it's a very sad moment because we're about to land at our takeout, unpack, and head off. And you know, these trips just never cease to amaze me how much you get out of them. You sort of reach an equilibrium about halfway through. You fight it for the first couple of days because you don't want to camp, and you don't want to, you know, you worry about things like toileting in the bush and all this sort of stuff. And by about 3 days on, you just realise that, you know, this is the best sort of holiday you can ever have, and I love it. It's just a wonderful experience to be able to immerse yourself in a place, be educated by your guide, and just explore a place, you know, really in an organic way rather than, you know, too commercial, and it's not thrown at you. It sort of sneaks up and is absorbed into your skin, and you know, this place has gotten under my skin. It is absolutely magnificent, and I can seriously see myself spending a lot of time in this place. So for now, that's the end of this trip, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Catch you later, guys. Okay, so it's day one, back from holidays. Well, it wasn't holidays, technically work, but you know, I was sea kayaking, so that's never really that hard. But I'll just sort of give you a little quick flyover as to my my current predicament, or my stages I'm at. And yeah, it's pretty hard coming back from such a nice trip to this. Just an absolute bloody nightmare. It's just never gonna leave me, this thought. And yeah, it can be a bit daunting, but you just got to dig deep, and when you think you're bitten off more than you can chew, you just got to chew harder, I reckon. That's the only way to get through it. So big chunks, little chunks, take whatever you can, and you get that really sinking feeling. Not sure to be excited or to dread it, but I'm just walked in and remembered what I left, and I'm thinking I might just go home and go back to bed. Nah, back into it today. Okay guys, so I've spared you the pain of me cleaning this mould up. I've still got to give it a bit of a wet and dry sand, like probably about 1,000 grit, 1,200 grit, and then go through all my my sealer glaze and my waxing. But you can see the difference in the capacity I've gained just by not going with this guy. This one's now gone, so goodbye, and hello new shitter. I basically, after gel coating it, I've spent a couple of hours just getting this nice and smooth. It is pretty much as good as it needs to be now, and now I'm going to get ready to mount it on a board, plasticine the edge, so I've got a nice radius. I intend to have a lid screw down on the top so I can actually open it and clean it out when I need to, and that'll have all of my inlets and outlets and everything on it for obviously for access and for the sender and for the pickup straws and everything that need to go in the top of this tank, and for the macerator to sit on top. But I think you'll agree this is a much better solution, and it's cost about 20 bucks and probably about half a day's time. So in reality I've saved around about 2 grand by doing this. I've still got to make the actual tanks, but it means if and when I do another boat, I've already got my blackwater tanks, and I'll probably even possibly use a smaller version of it for the grey water, because obviously that has to be retained, because I'm a surveyed vessel. I can't just flush out shower water into the sea. I do need to retain that until I can get rid of it accordingly. So all the polishing and the release wax is done now. I'm going to do 1 or 2 more coats before I probably PVA it, but I've just found a piece of melamine as scrap. I'm going to cut this down, and then I'm going to hot glue this to the melamine. I've got to sand some of the melamine off to make sure I get a good seal with the hot glue, and then I'll plasticine around the outside. So next job tomorrow when I get in will be cut this board down, plasticine it, glue it in place, plasticine a radius around it so I get a beautiful sort of radius flange. And then I'll be able to gel it up tomorrow, and hopefully by the weekend I'll have a blackwater tank made. So I've had this modelling clay. Honestly, I think I bought this block about 10 years ago. It just keeps going and going. It's a gift that keeps giving. A good block of plasticine. It's like going back to play school. But yeah, I'll turn this into a couple of big long sausages, and then I'll be able to radius them in with one of these tongue depressors. So that's what I'm going to do now. Right, so I've got my plasticine in place. You just sort of knead it in until you got a fair amount of bulk there, and then you get one of these, and that's the radius I'm after, is all the way around, just like filleting in a bulkhead or anything like that. I'll do this bit in a minute with the excess, so I don't want to roll it too much, but nothing sticks to the plasticine, so the gel coat won't stick, but it actually will still go off. Gel coat won't go off on a lot of surfaces, i.e. epoxy. If you spray it over epoxy joins or anything that's been glued, gel coat simply won't cure. So on this plasticine, it'll cure and give me a nice radius, just like I've got on the polished mould. But I'm almost finished, and hopefully by the Sava I'll be gel coating this up.
One of my favourite things in my workshop is not my gel coat machine. It's not my my tools. It's my Lazy Susan. I got this from a craft shop years ago. This thing, and to be honest, it saves you a lot of walking. For the sake of $20 for an MDF Lazy Susan. Look at that. That is just a winner because it saves you walking around. You just move things, and it's one of those little things that makes a massive difference. And in a workshop like I've got here, the easier things are, the quicker stuff gets done, and the less walking you got to do. It's always good.
It's all working.
We're back to old school with the brush, Johnny.
Mate, it looks better working with a brush than a spray gun.
Yeah, it's a bit messy.
Looks like you're doing something.
It's going everywhere. I'm just using up old gel coat. Probably shouldn't be, but got to do it.
We'll see if it sticks at the end of the day.
That'll stick.
All right, gel coat's going off. That was about 4 hours ago. It's around about 22 degrees. There's a perfect laminating conditions. And so I've just got to cut my cloth now. So I'm going to just work out the overall length. You've got to be careful when you're using tape measures and things. You don't scratch your gel coat. So it's all very rough. Okay, so that's now got 2 layers of 300 and 2 layers of 600 pretty much all over. And I've done a little bit extra on the top just to give it more reinforcement around the curve. But the curve's what's giving it strength. It is actually layered about 5 times on the edge or the corners of the tank. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 1 more layer of 300 on it, and then I'm going to test it with some water and just see how it handles the capacity and if there's any swelling or anything. And then what I'll do is when I've got my gun out one day, I'm doing another module, I'll add some foam perhaps, or add another couple of layers just where it needs it to reinforce them. I'm trying to get the weight down, get the strength up. That's why I've used the double bias, and I've actually gone 45-45, and then I've used it around the other way, and I'm going to put some biaxial just around the edges just to give it that little bit of extra reinforcement. But I reckon pretty much weight-wise, I reckon it'll come in around about 3 or 4 kilos. So that's it. She's done. That's got probably a little bit too much glass on it. I'm going to take it out, demold it in a couple of days. I'll let it sit for a couple of days, and then I'm going to give it a bit of a water test, fill it with water and see what sort of capacity or strength it's going to have. But I don't really think it's going to need anything more than that. It might need a little bit of foam, maybe a couple of strips of foam just to give it a bit of bracing on these flat sides. But certainly the whole form shape is going to give it a strength in itself anyway. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good result. The next one I'm going to make actually has to be about 15 centimetres shorter. So I'm going to make a separating line along here, and then do exactly the same layup, and then remove it, and that'll go in the starboard side, which has a little bit less room due to the fact that I've got a staircase module that goes a bit low. But yep, it's done. Okay, so it's the next day. I've just come up here. I'm just giving it a really light sand, just because I hate getting little splinters and things like that off new products that I've made. But it's time to demold this, and basically what I've done is in the top of it, I actually drilled a small hole and put a little bit of insulation tape there just so I can get an air gun into it. That's one of the reasons why I put the hole in the bottom of it, but that should be enough to blast it off, and combine that with a couple of wedges around the outside should pretty much crack it off. So let's have a look, eh? So remember when I made the base for this, I actually cut a hole in it, and it's always good to have a hole to be able to get something like high pressure air inside it to get it, because sometimes complicated shapes like this just don't want to remove. But for this case, I can simply put this gun in here and give it a little bit of a blast. Hopefully that's going to start the process. Oh, that cracked. That just came off, so a little bit of a separation here. One other corner here. Drive a wedge in. It's just about taking your time and not getting aggressive with it. I can spend all day demolding this. I'm really glad you didn't get to see that, because things got a bit physical. Started to swear a little bit, and it was probably good that I didn't show you that bit. I've had to break the centre support out, and I've also cracked this one and this one, so there's going to be a bit of restorative work. But I did feel it go. It is sort of wanting to come out now, so I'm hoping that I might be able to crack it out now. It's been about an hour of just a very special blend of violence and extreme friggin' abuse, but I think I might have got it. I felt a bit of movement at the station, and yes, demolding, never a good day. It's a good day when you get the parts off easily, but oh man, there's some stress, and this is nothing. This is a tiny little one. The only problem is I've got to get this wedge out before I can even consider pulling her out. But I think it's not far from releasing, so I've tried to save you guys a lot of ink. Okay, lessons learned here. The problem with this, the shape. I should really have made it more tapered in. It would have made it pretty complicated to build, and for the sake of releasing, definitely worth considering whenever you're building anything to mould. It must lift upwards on an angle so that there's no way it can catch. If I'm trying to lift something that way, it's never going to come off, but you need to have that. I didn't have that slight angle. I wanted a dead straight side. Probably worth it in the respect that I'm able to demold this now without, you know, too much damage, but it's still not out. Oh, there we go. It's starting to come. Oh, yeah. I just hope the mould's ready, because I need to do another one, and I'm sort of hoping. Yep, it's coming. She's a tight squeeze, but it's feeling all right, and I think I might have a good result here. Oh, gotta be a freaking gorilla to do this stuff. Right, so there we go. Mould looks like it could survive another day, because it needs to, at least one. And beautiful. You know, I know it seems pretty insignificant, but when I come to work, I get to achieve absolutely every single day. They might be minor, they might be major, but every day I get instant satisfaction. I think this is a lot of the problem with today's society is, you know, you don't get to achieve something every day. Things are just too long term with bureaucracy and paperwork and government policy and all this bullshit. With this sort of thing, every single day there is an achievement, and you go home at night thinking, made that, that's pretty cool. And you know, follow that edict, guys, because it really helps you with your state of mind. I go home at night and I feel like I've completed something every day. Now I know it's not a showroom piece, But Jesus, I'm proud of that shitter. That's a cracker. I'm even going to display it. Look at that on my Lazy Susan. But yep, that's going to suffice. So my plan is to have around about a 1 centimetre or about 10 millimetre edge around the top here with a lid that is then screwed down but also corked with Sikaflex or something like that, a marine sealant, so that it can be removed in the event I need to get in there. Now I'll probably put an inspection hatch on the top of it, and you know, obviously we're going to have to be pumping sewer out of it at the end of the day. I may even consider putting a low valve down in here somewhere so that I can gravity feed it almost straight into the ocean when we're at sea. But yeah, all those things I'll think about later on. For now, shitter is full, Clark. Okay, so I've just marked this tank where I want to cut it. I want to cut it just on the outside of this line. You know, do it with a diamond wheel grinder and just cut it off, and then I can use that as a lip to seal the lid. Right, so I'm going to do a test fit on the starboard side because I can't put it in the port side because I've got all the modules back in. I've got to lift them out again. But it's a spot on fit. Ah, just perfect.